Okay, good morning all. Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews coming to you on Saturday, September 11th, 2021. I'm at Garvey's Point. And I just spoke to Angel, who was also down here. As many know, I've been, with the advent of social media, I've often done shout outs and such. Of course, during the pandemic, I did walks down to Morgan Park and just reflecting and thinking and such as that. The sun is really bright today, so it's even hard to see this. But I'm at Garvey's Point today because, as many know, on 9/11, 20 years ago, Glen Cove was very much a part of the rescue. I was actually living in the city at the time. But Glen Cove was very much a part of the rescue, and they had an area down here, as I understand from Angel, of course, who is a volunteer fireman, but there was a hub around this point where so many of the Fox navigation ferries came into, and if you know the history of this better than me, please share it below, but there were many of those high-speed ferries that shuttled people out of Manhattan, the survivors here to Glen Cove. And again, that was on 9/11, 20 years ago, on the tragic day. As many know, on that day, 2,997 people died as a direct result of that attack. And of course, there are many others who have passed away since then from diseases resulting from that. Of course, that was at the World Trade Center, that was at the Pentagon, and that was United Airlines Flight 93 that crashed in Pennsylvania. I came down here today just because I wanted to take a little bit of time to reflect and remember. There are several remembrances today. There are three that I wanted to mention to you. One of those is at 8:46 a.m. Of course, that's when the first plane flew into the tower, and that is in Seacliff at the Village Clock. And of course, that is across from the Junior Library. The City of Glen Cove's ceremony will be at noon. That's in Morgan Park. Some years it's been in Pratt Park, but this year it is being held in Morgan Park. That's at noon today. And this evening, beginning at 6 p.m., they're encouraging people to be there by 5:45, but at 6 p.m., New York State Senator Jim Gorin and former State Senator Carl Marcelino will host a memorial ceremony at the Theodore Roosevelt Park Western Waterfront 9/11 Memorial, and that's on West End Avenue in Oyster Bay. So those are just three different remembrances that are happening today. There is a remembrance that I've posted on Facebook of my experience on 9/11, again, living in an apartment in Manhattan. And I talk about a choir that showed up. I had a great opportunity to help serve meals to first responders at Ground Zero weeks after the attack. And I invite you to see that if you like. But the other thing that I remember was how our nation, everyone, worked to find a way to do something, to respond, to find a way to say thank you to our responders and share their remorse and the loss of so many of our people here in our great nation. And the thing I remember so vividly was that at 9/11, we were on the steps of the church and we were looking out towards the crowd of people. People just wanted to be close. And of course, they had barricades and such. But firefighters would come in from New Jersey and, of course, all around our nation. But there was one fellow who came in from New Jersey and he had a bag of sandwiches. I think they were peanut butter and jelly, made by an elderly lady in New Jersey who just gave those sandwiches to him because she knew those firefighters needed something to eat. So I often think about this lady in New Jersey making sandwiches to make sure those firefighters had something to eat. And quite frankly, there was so much food, they had to throw the food away. But that lady, that elderly lady in New Jersey, had to get up and make sure she made some sandwiches and make sure she got them to that firefighter. And that, to me, is the spirit of what makes our nation great. So I'd like to encourage all of us to remember that spirit today. If you are able to get away, please go to some of those remembrances. Again, the one Seacliff is at 8:46 a.m. this morning. Glen Coves is in Morgan Park at noon. And the Oyster Bay, there's the one that's happening on the North Shore, that's at 6 p.m. and that's at the Theodore Roosevelt Park Western Waterfront 9/11 Memorial on West End Avenue in Oyster Bay. I want to close by just remembering our Glen Cove folks who passed away on that day at 9/11. Of course, their names will be spoken many times today. And let me just pan out this way so that you all can see our beautiful Hempstead Harbor. But today, for all of us, especially those of us in Glen Cove, let's remember Edward Lehman, Matthew McDermott, John Puckett, and Joseph Zuccala. And of course, let's remember all of those who perished, all of those who died afterwards of other diseases, and especially let's remember our first responders and our ordinary people who showed up and did extraordinary things. I'm sorry, I did not intend this to be this way. So, do just remember everyone. Take time to remember, take time to say a prayer in your own, whatever tradition you come from, because that's one of the other things that makes us great. We come from so many different backgrounds. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I think all of us were so proud of the response. And in the tricky times, let's hold on to that. I'm going to do one more pan. As you all know, I'm a planner, but I didn't plan this video. So this is how things sometimes turn out. Again, take time to be silent, take time to remember, take time to be in prayer, take time to remember those lives that were lost here on 9/11, 20 years later. And let us again remember our local first responders, Fox Navigations, their high-speed ferries that came into this location because our city responded. I believe Tom Swazi was mayor at the time and reached out, and those high-speed ferries made a difference in people's lives. And again, that's what Glen Cove does. Everybody stay strong and never forget. Thank you.